Yo, what's poppin', y'all? Behemoth here with an official trailer video of sorts. As I teased in various streams, I'm doing a big project spanning a whole whopping 32 games across all 9 generations. First, allow me to go over what Project Home is. Those who know what Pokemon Home is should be familiar with what I'm going to be getting at. Project Home will consist of me playing every mainland Pokemon game to catch a complete living dex in the respective region. What is a living dex, you may ask or wonder? It's simply catching every single Pokemon per region, and I don't mean catching them as first forms and evolving them to last forms. I mean catching one of every Pokemon in a line. Example, having a Charmander, a Charmeleon, and a Charizard. Why would I subject myself to catching 1,024 individual species of Pokemon across all 9 generations? Because I simply like the challenge, and as evident here, my home is pretty fucking barren. My ultimate goal would also be to get a complete shiny living dex as well. More specifically for all the Pokemon that aren't fucking shiny locked. Although that's a whole other challenge that I'll tackle at my own pace. This is also a chance for me to play the games I've never actually played, like the original Gen 2 games and the Ultra remakes. Some of y'all may be wondering, what about streaming? Will you still do that? And to you say, of course I will. Originally, I was planning to just record the game, then edit them afterwards into a montage of sorts, but I decided I will stream the games, take a break to edit them into a montage, then record the next generation of games. Another question that may arise is, what about the Pokemon you've caught in Scarlet/Violet, as well as those that currently reside within your home? And to that I say, I will release them, with some exceptions. That will be decided later on, but more likely than not, it'll be the event Pokemon and shinies that I've caught. I will also be designing my own Team Vigilance inspired overlay for use in the videos, but that will be revealed when the first video is actually released. Or stream. Now let's get into the rules of this challenge, shall we? Rule number 1. I can only use Pokemon found in that region. Example, Kanto Pokemon can only be used in Kanto, Johto Pokemon can only be used in Johto, Hoenn Pokemon in Hoenn, etc, etc. Rule number 2. If I use a Pokemon on one team, cannot use it again across any playthrough, with the exception of starters. Rule number 3. I must catch every Pokemon that isn't a legendary or an Ultra Beast in regular run-of-the-mill Pokeballs. Legendaries will of course use Master Balls, and Ultra Beasts will use game-specific Beast Balls. Rule number 4. I will also catch Pokemon in the gender that fits them best. If a Pokemon feels more male, I will catch it to be male. If a Pokemon feels more female, I will catch it to be female. The obvious exception to this rule are Pokemon that only have one gender, are genderless, or have multiple gender-specific forms like Hippopotas and Oinkologne, etc. Rule number 5. If a Pokemon that was previously used has a new form introduced in a later region, that new form is counted as a new species and is therefore usable. Rule number 6. I have to catch every new Pokemon found in that region. Older generation Pokemon that can be found can be caught as well, though not mandatory, but more likely than not, I will catch them. Rule number 7. I have to catch every available Pokemon I can before every major checkpoint, and if a Pokemon has a multitude of forms, like Florges or Alcremie, I must also catch the Pokemon until I have every unique form. Rule number 8. I had to subject myself to play every game per generation starting from Gen 1. And I don't mean starting in Gen 3 Kanto remakes. I mean the 1998 Red and Blue. All the way up to Generation 9, Scarlet and Violet. Rule number 9. I'll also be playing remakes such as Fire Red/Leaf Green, Alpha Sapphire/Omega Ruby, Black and White 2, Ultra Sun and Moon, and the remakes I will not be playing are Let's Go Pikachu/Eevee and Brilliant Diamond/Shining Pearl, as those were 2 games I didn't care enough to buy the opposite version of and I'm not going to be buying them now. Rule number 10. But Behemoth, what about Pokemon that can't be obtained anymore? Glad you asked. I'm simply going to pull a pro gamer move and cheat them in. Allow me to specify more. Only those who have absolutely no way of legitimately obtaining them anymore. Thanks to the efforts of the Pokemon community, it is indeed possible to obtain old events in the DS era by modifying some internet settings. For the Game Boy era games, I will use to simply give myself the event items needed. Is this cheating? More than likely, but at the same time, I'm still going to have to do the work of actually catching these Pokemon. So I'd say it fairly evens out. In the case of legendaries, I will not cheat in multiple Master Balls, but instead utilize save states and then trade the legendaries from the save states to the official file. I'm aware this may sound cheaty, but it's not, as this is a built-in feature of the emulators I'll be using. Rule number 11, I will be roleplaying, best to my ability because I fucking suck at roleplay, as a team vigilant stalwart trying to bolster our team's prowess for battle and research for the Keeper of the Vigil by going on journeys to obtain every Pokemon and their complete dex entry. With the rules established, I'd like to thank y'all for tuning into the trailer. I'll more likely than not start streaming the project the same day this trailer is uploaded. If you enjoyed my first attempt at editing, drop a like and a subscribe. And with that, I'd like to spread a bit of gospel love from John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have eternal life. With that, peace out, and God bless.